Pokémon GO Fest 2023 has officially been announced, and today we use math, science, and the laws of gravity to predict exactly what we'll see during the biggest events and seasons of the year, which should include new Pokémon releases, potential new features, and as always, plenty of new shiny Pokemon to catch. And to understand what we should expect, it's helpful to look back at what we've already experienced. Starting with new mythical Pokemon releases, which is something that has always happened during Pokemon GO Fest events. In 2020, we had Victini, Meloetta in 2021, and both Shaman forms in 2022. And for 2023's GO Fest, we actually know for certain which mythical to expect. Looking at the new GO Fest 2023 logo, you'll notice two pink diamonds on it. They are a dead giveaway to the Generation 6 mythical Deontay. Now, we're pretty much guaranteed to get a special research during GO Fest that will lead to an encounter with this brand new mythical. But is it any good? Deontay will be a dual rock and fairy type with a max CP of 3091, and it has super high defense stats, which will make it quite the tank. It's definitely just not going to rank high amongst the rock types due to its low CP, but it might end up actually being a top 5 or top 10 fairy type Pokemon, which is kind of new. Usually the GO Fest mythicals kind of suck, so this one might be good. And even if you don't end up making it to an in-person GO Fest, don't worry. Deontay will most likely be available also during the global GO Fest special research. Okay, so we should 100% expect a brand new mythical. What about some other Pokemon? During the past GO Fest events, the only real new wild Pokemon encounters we've experienced are Rotom. We had Mo Rotom back in 2022 and Wash Rotom back in 2020. So this year, I definitely expect a new Rotom in the Photobomb encounters, maybe Fan Rotom. Since GO Fest is all happening in August, which is like a hot summer month, we'll all get a couple of snapshot encounters with it, and that'll be it. So don't transfer it though, especially for players who are going to both the in-person locations and the global GO Fest. And speaking of the in-person event, I'm excited to announce the Shiny Luck Tour is back. On August 17th in New York City, the day before GO Fest, I will be hosting my own event. If you saw my video of the huge Pokemon Go competition I did in Las Vegas with everyone, you'll kind of know what to expect. A vintage box break, a Pokemon Go competition with a huge prize, meet and greets, and a DJ set by the one and only Trainer Tips. Tickets for this New York City Shiny Luck Tour event are currently live. Link is in the description. Hope to see you all in New York. Okay, back to the predictions. One thing I do expect we'll see again this year in 2023 that we saw last year too were special research quests that led to encounters with new Ultra Beasts. Definitely would make a lot of sense if we saw the release of a couple of the new Ultra Beasts in the research, because there's kind of a couple that we don't have, or also featured in the raids, kind of like how we got Nihilego last year. Remaining Ultra Beasts include Necrozma, Poipole, Naganadel, Stakataka, and Blasphelalon. Also, to tie in with the release of the new Kalos mythical Deontay, we could see Zygarde released in raids with the return of Yveltal and Xerneas. Now, honestly, I hesitate to predict anything that has anything to do with raiding, because this will be the first GO Fest event since the nerfing and kind of destroying of the remote raid passes. But I do think we're gonna get some really cool new Pokemon in the raids though. But I do think we could get a really cool Pokemon released in the raids that would make a lot of sense. Mega Deontay. Yes, this mythical does have a mega form, and it would be so sick to see it released during GO Fest, especially if the mythical itself gets released. How I could see this happening is Deontay gets released in special research during the in-person GO Fest events, then the mega is released in raids for the 2-day global GO Fest event. Mega Deontay, by the way, will max out at a massive 4,913 CP, making it one of the best fairy types in the game. So it would absolutely be useful and worth raiding if and when it does come out. Fingers crossed for GO Fest. Now, where I think GO Fest 2023 will lack in raids, it will shine in eggs and in Pokemon in the wild. We've recently seen Pokemon Go become super egg focused and increasingly less raid focused with all of the latest events, and I fully expect Pokemon GO Fest 2023 to follow this pattern. But I do think we'll see some sick features as a part of it. Starting off with hatches, I am guessing they are going to bang. Similarly to how they did during the Las Vegas Hoenn Tour event with the new shiny regionals and boosted shiny odds. During past GO Fest events, plenty of new shiny Pokemon have been available, specifically in the 7-kilometer eggs. But for this year, I expect all eggs to have boosted shiny rates, kind of like during the recent events that featured that. I forgot what event that was. What shinies do I think will be inside? Regionals, for sure. Every GO Fest, we've always seen new shiny regionals. And during the recent Hoenn Tour, they were a huge part of the event. So for GO Fest 2023, I'm expecting some new shiny regionals in the eggs, including Basculin. There's two different kinds of Basculin depending on what side of the hemisphere you're on, either a red stripe on the side or a blue stripe. Very subtle. This Pokemon was released way back in January of 2020 and has never had its shiny released. It's about time. I also think we'll see shiny Maractus in the wild wild and in eggs. This Pokemon was also released in January of 2020 and is really overdue for a shiny. And since we're gonna have Go Fest happening in New York City, I think Shiny Bouffalante will also be making a debut, which is a New York and surrounding areas exclusive regional Pokemon. That would just make a lot of sense. Just these three though, they don't typically spam new shiny regionals during major events, they just kind of sprinkle them in. Another new shiny that I expect to see both in the eggs and maybe in the wild is Goomy. The shiny Goomy family is incredible and it will become the brand new hyper rare shiny, kind of like Axew or Noibat. This is the perfect event for it. It's been released since May 4th, 2021 and is also overdue for a shiny. And honestly, I expect a lot of egg-focused shinies. New ones, that is. Like a lot of the 12-kilometer egg Pokemon, including Skrelp, Pancham, Sandile. Skrelp released in April of 2021, Pancham in May in 2021, Sandile way back in October of 2020. They've been available in 12-kilometer eggs for a long time. Far too long without their shinies. It's time. I would definitely expect day 2 of Go Fest to be really Team Rocket focused, kind of like we saw in 2020. Except this year, I think it'll be largely about the 12-kilometer eggs. All new shinies to hatch, higher shiny rates, and lower kilometers to hatch eggs are all things that I can see happening. Also, this would just honestly make 12-kilometer eggs so much more worth hatching in general, and way more fun to do during Go Fest. I do also think we're gonna see quite a bit go down with rocket radars and possibly super rocket radars. There was some sort of leak recently regarding a new feature called Shadow Raids, which has caused quite a bit of buzz in the community, especially regarding Go Fest predictions. It would be incredible to have the ability for one day to buy rocket radars or super rocket radars and battle down and catch some of the most meta relevant and amazing shadow Pokemon in the entire game from raids. And a bold prediction: if shadow raids do end up happening, I bet we'll see our first ever shadow shiny legendary Pokemon, hopefully Shadow Shiny Mewtwo. Fingers crossed. And speaking of new and special raids, I do actually think we'll see a lot happen in them, but not how we're used to it. I think the special raid features of Go Fest 2023 will be much more in-person focused, which means elite raids. I know this feature is super buggy, it never works, it always causes problems, but I do think they're gonna include it this year. Remember the Pokemon Cosmog? How we were all only ever given one back in September of 2022 and told that we would get the ability to catch more and then never were? Yeah, well, it never came back, and I think right now, Go Fest, it's about time. My bold Go Fest prediction would be that shiny Cosmog is released in the elite raids and would be spawning throughout one or both of the 2 days, and at the in-person Go Fests. This would be absolutely fire, considering that you could evolve Cosmog into 2 different amazing and relevant legendary Pokemon, Solgaleo and Lunala, both of which, by the way, have just incredible shinies. And I think that's about it for special raids during the Go Fest events. I do think we'll get one more huge feature that's gonna put a lot of focus on going outside and walking around, which is the initiative that Niantic is really pushing at the moment. This will be the first year that we have the daily incense feature during an in-person Go Fest event. We had it last year during the global event, but not during the big in-person ones, and nothing special happened with the incense during the global event. But I think this year it's gonna get some really special bonuses this time around. For starters, I'm expecting the time for the daily incense to go from 15 minutes all the way to 60 minutes. Yes, a 1 hour long daily incense, which is double the historical longest length we've ever had, which is 30 minutes currently, which we saw during like a ton of events last year. Now, since you have to walk to get spawns from this, it's going to get people up and out and playing a lot more than it would otherwise, especially if there's some cool Pokemon to catch on it, which I think we're gonna have. I'm predicting the release of the Galarian Shiny Legendary Birds. Shiny Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres all happening on the Daily Incense. Listen, the Daily Incense and these 3 Galarian birds were released back in July of 2022. So during Go Fest this August, they're gonna be over a year old. It would be the perfect time to release their shinies. And perfect place and situation. But I don't think just having them shiny will be enough. The biggest problem with the Galarian birds is how extremely difficult they are to spawn and they are to catch. So to make the daily incense more exciting during Go Fest, I expect the Galarian birds to not only get their shiny variants released, but I think they'll spawn much more often and be a whole lot easier to catch. And I honestly think they're gonna have like 1 in 20 boosted shiny rates, kind of like how legendary raids do now. And maybe we'll see these released in some sort of staggered way, like we saw the regional monkey Pokemon of last year's Go Fest, where basically we'll have one of the shiny birds released in London, one in Japan, and then one in New York. And then for the global Go Fest later on in the month, all 3 shiny Galarian legendary birds will be available. Also, a huge reminder that we're gonna have 3 in-person Go Fests happening early in the month, and then a 2-day global event happening later in the month. So most likely the in-person events will get some super cool, sick things early that you could only get by being there, that will then be released and included globally during the global Go Fest event, which is again later that month, which includes new shiny Pokemon. After all, shiny Pokemon are really the most exciting part of these events. events. So other new shiny Pokemon I'm expecting to see during Go Fest 2023 include a new shiny Unknown. The past 3 years of Go Fest have all seen brand new shiny Unknown releases. Unknown G and O in 2020, Unknown F in 2021, and Unknown B in 2022. So for this year's event, because it's the big Go Fest season, we're all back outside, the raids are destroyed, I expect one of the rarest Unknown ever to make its return and be shiny for the first time ever. Unknown exclamation point or question mark, or both. Exclamation point and question mark Unknown spawned back in 2018 at the Los Angeles E3 event, then again returned later in the year during Go Fest 2018. And after that, they have never returned and have become some of the rarest Pokemon in the entire game. It's about time that we see them come back and have their shinies released, and it would really hype this event up. I would for sure be hunting hard if these were out. And if these do come out, they will most likely be Incense exclusive spawns, probably at the in-person event and at the global event. I also think we see shiny Scatterbug and Vivillon released, which would show some love to the global Pokemon Go community, which could use it right now. And it would also really incentivize people getting out, spinning stops, getting gifts, and sending those gifts to their friends. Especially if there's special 7-kilometer egg hatches, it kind of just all makes sense. And honestly, shiny Scatterbug would be like kind of a fun side quest to do while out there hunting during the event, especially for those traveling to any of the in-person events. And let's make a crazy Hail Mary prediction. Shiny Ash Greninja. Froakie technically should have its Community Day event happen before Go Fest happens. So I think we'll see the release of Ash Greninja during Go Fest in August, which will obviously include its shiny. What do you think we're gonna see during Pokemon Go Fest 2023? Let me know in the comments below. Also remember that the Shiny Luck Tour event tickets are live. Link is in the description. Check those out before they sell out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you're excited for Go Fest 2023. See y'all in the next one.